Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank. Busey, your dream, our promise. Welcome back to Spotlight. And joining me now from the DuPage Medical Group Charitable Fund is Dr. Amy Stoeffler. She's the chair of their advisory board. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Super nice to have you here. And we're going to just start right off and ask you to please help our viewers understand what is the DuPage Medical Group Charitable Fund and when was it started?
So DuPage Medical Group has a long history of community service and philanthropy. And back in 2010, a group of physicians decided to start the Charitable Fund so that we had an organized structure to give back to the communities in which we serve. So basically, since that time, we have distributed $3.5 million to those in the communities in which we serve.
That's incredible. That's a lot of money, and we'll get to kind of who you're giving that money to as we move through this conversation. So, you know, you're going into your 11th year, and I love the fact that it was the doctors that decided that they wanted to be able to give back. So can you give me a little bit of a sense of the mission? What's the mission?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, as providers at DuPage Medical Group, we strive every day to give quality and compassionate health care to our patients. But we had the realization that there were a lot of needs outside of the four walls of our clinics. And we just sought to help our communities in other ways. And so the mission actually of the Charitable Fund is very simple. We donate money to various charities that provide food and housing and support and health care and wellness within those communities.
Okay, so really you're so coming alongside those essential services, and obviously I'm sure you see lots of patients coming through your clinics that are struggling in some of those areas.
Yes, and especially this year during the COVID, you know, everybody has more needs, and especially for the food and the housing, it's been, you know, hard on everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, how do you raise the funds that you then turn around? I mean, over $3.5 million, I think you said. How do you raise the funds to give away?
Mm-hmm. Well, the stronghold of our charitable fundraising comes from just generous donations from our physicians, our associates, our community members, our neighbors, business associates that we work with that actually donate the money. We usually have two big fundraising events every year. And this year, because of the COVID, actually both of those events, a golf outing and a care fair, were both canceled. So we had to do some creative fundraising. And I'm happy to report that we actually did raise enough money to distribute $670,000 to the agencies that had requested a grant. So, you know, that was actually more than a couple of other years in the past. So we did pretty well, and that was all just from charitable donations.
That's incredible. And I think, you know, we've heard from so many people, and as much as this was a very challenging and difficult year, you also really saw the community step up in so many ways and really try to support each other and support people that were less fortunate than themselves, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned about kind of grants and how you distribute the money. Can you give us a little bit more of an idea?
Grundy and Will counties. And so we have extended grant money to various organizations within the catchment area of where we see patients.
Okay.
So they apply for grants, and then we have an advisory board that meets. The advisory board is made up of physicians and associates and some community members that we make the decision on how to distribute the grant money. The other interesting thing about the Charitable Fund is that DuPage Medical Group actually funds all the administrative costs. So every dollar that we raise goes out to the charities. We don't have any administrative costs, which is really awesome.
Yeah, that really does amplify the impact that your fundraising has, right? When you don't have to take those administrative expenses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, I know, because we've chatted before, that volunteerism and the whole concept of volunteers is very important.
The Charitable Fund comes up with all sorts of volunteer activities. Our physicians have given millions of dollars in pro bono health care to the uninsured through Access DuPage. We have actually recently in April, we did a DMG Care Week that coincided with Volunteer Week. And we had all sorts of opportunities for those in our organization to volunteer in the community. And it really makes you see, you know, what these organizations do day to day. And, you know, reminds us why we do this, because these are the people that we're helping. So it's, you know, very rewarding.
Yeah, I would imagine, and you know, seeing, I know I've spoken with Access DuPage before, and they can't say enough about the donated hours that your staff gives them and your physicians to be able to make sure that those that are uninsured are receiving the kind of help that they need and the support. But I've got to believe that for your doctors, it's and all your staff, because I know it isn't just the physicians, it's all of your staff that get involved in that. It's got to be tremendously rewarding to see everybody and the impact that you're having, because you know so much of that is connected to their health ultimately, right?
It's all tied in together. So, you know, if they can live in a safe place and get good, you know, healthy nutritional foods and good health care, I mean, it all works together. So.
Yeah, and I would imagine too, it's probably a little bit of fun, even though you dragged your husband, it's probably a little bit of fun too, getting out and doing something out in the community with the rest of the people that you work with, right?
Oh, it's totally fun. It's totally fun, you know, and they, at the food pantries, they play loud music, you know, everybody gets very competitive in terms of putting together the most boxes, and the volunteers there couldn't be better people, you know, they just wonderful people. So, yeah.
Terrific. Now, as we wrap up, what are you excited about as we obviously, you know, people are moving forward, we're getting vaccinated. Hopefully, we're going to see the backside of 2020 and early 2021. What are you most excited about for the fund in your advisory role?
Well, we're, you know, more the same. You know, we're super excited to actually get together and do some things, you know, socially to help raise money, get more people involved, get the word out there. We have a new CEO, which is really, he is very supportive of the Charitable Fund. And so I think we're going to, you know, have him involved in, you know, spreading the word. That's the biggest thing, right? Spread the word.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. And, you know, thank you to all of your doctors, physicians, staff members for all the work that they do in support of the Charitable Fund.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And if you would like more information about the DuPage Medical Group Charitable Fund, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back with more Spotlight.